Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated and take a moment to silence all electronic devices. Today's ceremony will begin shortly. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the presiding official, Lieutenant General Sean Q. Morris, Commander, Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, welcome to today's ceremony. This morning, Colonel Patrick G. Miller will pass command of the 88th Air Base Wing to Colonel Christopher B. Meeker. As a reminder, verbal cues will be given when it is appropriate to stand and sit. We are honored to have some special guests with us today. Please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. Jean Morris, wife of Lieutenant General Morris. Beth Miller, wife of Colonel Miller, and their children, Adam and Justin. Rhonda Wolf, mother of Colonel Miller, accompanied by her husband Glenn. Kaylin Meeker, wife of Colonel Meeker, and their sons, Reed and Caleb. Carl and Anita Meeker, parents of Colonel Meeker. Mayor, City of Beaver Creek, the Honorable Bob Stone. Mayor, City of Fairborn, the Honorable Paul Keller. Mayor, City of Xenia, the Honorable Sarah Mays. The leadership team from the Air Force Material Command, the Deputy Commander, Lieutenant General Carl Schaefer, accompanied by his wife Pauline, and the Executive Director, Ms. Lorna Estep. The leadership team from the Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, the Executive Director, Ms. Kathy Watern, the Vice Commander, Colonel John Currian. Director, Air Force Security Assistance and Cooperation Directorate, Brigadier General Luke Cropsey, and his wife Heather. The leadership team from the Air Force Institute of Technology, the Director and Chancellor, Dr. Walter Jones, and the Commander, Air University Detachment 1, Colonel Sarah Isbell. President and Chief Executive Officer, Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Chris Kirschner. President and Chief Executive Officer, Dayton Development Coalition, Mr. Jeff Hoagland. Executive Vice President for Aerospace and Defense, Dayton Development Coalition, Ms. Elaine Bryant. Representing Governor DeWine, Military Veteran Liaison, Ms. Tammy Puff. Representing Senator Robert Portman, Director of Constituent Services, Military and Veteran Outreach, Mr. Michael Dussman. Representing Congressman Mike Turner, Deputy District Director, Mr. Eugene Saunders. The leadership team from the Air Force Research Laboratory, the Vice Commander, Colonel Joel Luker, and the Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant James Fitch. The leadership team from the 88th Air Base Wing, spouse of the Vice Commander, Mrs. Laura Barkhurst, accompanied by their daughter Sarah. The Vice Director, Mr. Gregory Leingang, and the incoming Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Lloyd Morales, accompanied by his wife Barbara. The leadership team from the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, the Vice Commander, Colonel Jerry Torrero, and the Command Chief, Chief Master Sergeant Carlos Labrador, accompanied by his wife Legina. Commander, 445th Airlift Wing, Colonel Raymond Smith, accompanied by his wife Stephanie. Program Executive Officer, Intelligence, Surveillance, Reconnaissance, and Special Operations Forces, Colonel William Rogers. We also have some special guests joining us virtually. Former Commander, Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center, Major General Retired Teresa Carter. Deputy Assistant, Secretary for Budget, Office of the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Financial Management and Comptroller, Brigadier General Mike Greiner. Command Chief, Air Force District of Washington, and the 320th Air Expeditionary Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Melanie Noel. We also welcome all community representatives, senior officers, commanders, directors, chiefs, first sergeants, friends, family, and the men and women of the 88th Air Base Wing. Thank you for attending. The transfer of the organizational flag is significant in many ways. The history, traditions, and accomplishments of the 88th Air Base Wing are embodied in it. With the transfer, the unit's legacy is passed as a building block for future performance and achievement. Historically, the flag or colors of a unit served as the point around which the members of the organization rallied as they moved forward into battle. The colors have traditionally been at the side of the commander and were carried forward even when the commander fell in combat. All others may perish, but the colors live on. The wing flag is an extension of the unit colors. The transfer of the flag here today is a symbolic representation of the transfer of command responsibility for not only the accomplishment of the 88th Air Base Wing mission, but also the welfare of its airmen. The senior non-commissioned officer of the organization is traditionally responsible for maintenance and care of the colors, and so today, Chief Master Sergeant Jason Schaefer will pass the wing flag to the outgoing commander, Colonel Miller, signifying the wing's appreciation for his leadership and guidance. Colonel Miller will then pass the flag to Lieutenant General Morris, signifying the relinquishing of his command and gratitude for the opportunity to lead airmen. General Morris will then pass the flag to the incoming commander, Colonel Meeker, entrusting him with the responsibility and care of the unit. Finally, Colonel Meeker will pass the flag back to Chief Schaefer, signifying his trust and confidence in the leaders and airmen of the wing. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and the playing of ruffles and flourishes. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors and the playing of the national anthem of the United States of America by the Air Force Band of Flight's Spirit of Freedom Brass Ensemble. Honor Guard, present the colors. Thank you, Spirit of Freedom. Chaplain Kim Bowen will now give the invocation.
I invite you to join me in prayer this morning. God, our eternal Father in heaven, we gather here today to witness a ceremony steeped in rich tradition and significance. As two men awoke this morning, emotions certainly must have varied, with one looking back on 2 years of unique challenges answered with resounding success, while the other looking forward to the opportunity of leaving his own legacy and mark on the 88th Air Base Wing. Father, as the guidon exchanges hands today and the mantle of leadership shifts from Colonel Patrick Miller to Colonel Christopher Meeker, we ask for thy blessing to be upon both of them in their future endeavors. May the new and eager hands be strengthened by the men and women of this impressive organization. May Colonel Meeker sense our commitment to the mission for which he assumes responsibility. May these capable warriors under his charge rally behind him as he commits his all to carrying on the legacy set forth by his predecessors. God, may we sense thy divine influence. May Colonel Meeker sense it, specifically shoring him up as he now faces the weighty decisions of command. And may his efforts result in organizational strength and individual care down to the lowest ranking airman. Bless this ceremony now, Father, with thy sanctioning presence, that it might serve as a reminder of our solemn obligation in the defense of our great nation and service to its people under thy care. This is our prayer as we offer it. In his holy name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Bowen. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce our presiding official for today's ceremony, Lieutenant General Sean Morris.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. How exciting a day is this? What a great event, what a great turnout. Thanks to everybody for being here. A couple thank yous and welcomes right up front. So first, how blessed are we that we have the Air Force Band here at Wright-Patterson. We have the Air Force's best honor guard to make this ceremony better. And we have this forum, right, the world's greatest aviation museum to host and to be the backdrop for today's event. And so we can count our blessings right up front on this great forum. For all of you that are here, and Chaplain, thank you very much. Great invocation. Always great to start these events with a prayer. To all of you here today, welcome. To all of our senior leaders, to all of our civic leaders, industry leaders who are here, thanks. I am not going to go back and rename all of you, just for the sake of your own time. But thanks for being here. It's great that we can all gather together again and do these ceremonies in person. And then a special welcome to Team Miller and Team Meeker, who are both here with this ceremony, with family as well, that have traveled in for this event. Very, very excited for you and for the opportunity to be here and witness this in person. And a special welcome to the men and women of the 88th. You guys are looking great. And this is an exciting day for you as we go through the change of command. And we recognize through Colonel Miller your achievements and the things that you do every single day to enable the mission to happen here at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So thanks for being here, but thanks for what you do every single day. We all recognize and understand the importance of the mission and your accomplishments. So thanks so much. So perhaps before I go forward, maybe just a little insight into the ceremony that you might not otherwise know. So as the presiding official, I really only have one job, okay? My job is to talk long enough that they can take down Colonel Miller's picture from all the 600 buildings on base and put up Colonel Meeker's picture, right? And so I have somebody in the back that's gonna signal me when they're finished, and then I will get out of the way and we'll go on with the rest of the ceremony. So maybe you didn't recognize that was going on. Pat, we've agreed, we have no use for all your pictures, so we're gonna have those shipped to Hawaii, and they'll be showing up at your house. Yes, you're welcome to sign one of them if you would like and leave it behind. Okay. All right. So I do want to recognize, and I think it's really important that we take a moment here to recognize Colonel Miller and Beth for their achievements over the course of the last year as the commander here. And it has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And so when I think of an installation commander, an air base wing commander, our base mayor, right, whatever title we want to throw on him at the moment, I really think of three key areas, right, that you have to be successful in a job like this. One is leading down and in. And by down and in, I mean the air base wing itself, right? The men and women of the 88th and accomplishing the mission that they have to accomplish every day. Whether that's keeping us secure, keeping us healthy, running the airport. So if you think of us as a city and think of Pat as the mayor, right? We have a police force, a fire department, an airfield, right? Entertainment facilities like a museum. We feed people, we house people, we do all the things, right, that you would have to do for 30,000 people who come to work here every single day. Now, we are in HPCon Bravo, so we're at 80% of that. So for 24,000 people who are showing up to work today, there's an engineer in the back somewhere with a calculator making sure that math is right, 80%. So Pat, thanks. You and your team, right, have done an absolutely fantastic job of leading down and in, of accomplishing what the wing needs to accomplish in perhaps as trying time as we have ever given for any of our installation commanders. To accomplish the mission in the middle of a global pandemic, right, is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And there's also absolutely no playbook, right? No one, at least in recent history, has had to figure out how to do this. And we put our installation commanders in the position that they all kind of had to figure it out. And Pat, you've done fantastic. And the added challenges of deploying medics, right, to go. So while we're protecting our folks here, we're deploying our medics out to help local communities that are overwhelmed by COVID, by supporting and isolating folks that we had to deploy into theater and being able to provide them the support to have Wright-Patterson as a springboard for deployment. It's just an amazing set of accomplishments on what the wing has accomplished in your 2 years, despite all of the challenges that you've had to face. So that's one area, okay? And perhaps for most commanders, that's the area that they focus on the most. But there are two really other important areas that I think that are necessary to be successful. One is across, right? You have to be able to lead and support all of the other mission partners that exist here on the base and enable them to be successful as well. And this is not an uncomplicated base from a mission partner's perspective. You have the unique blessing of having your 3- and 4-star bosses live and work on the base. So we have AFMC Command here. We have other AFMC partners beyond Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. Air Force Research Lab is here as well. But we also have lots of other mission partners, whether it's the 455th Reserve Wing, whether it is AFIT, whether it is NASIC. Regardless of which of those are, their success on the base is empowered by the work, right, of the installation by the 88th. And Pat, you have been a fantastic partner. The way that you communicate and work with all of our installation partners to ensure they understand every single day what's going on, right, what you are doing for them and what they need from you, and then reacting to that has been phenomenal, right? And so down and in and across. But then there's also the third element of this that to be really successful that you have to be able to do, which is the leading and collaborating up and out, right? And that's with a lot of you who are sitting here today. That's with our local leadership outside the base, all of the cities that surround us. It's with all of our community partners, whether that be at the county, the state, or at the national level. It's with our industry partners. It's with great partners like the DDC. We are incredibly blessed here in Ohio to have an amazing supporting community that is incredibly invested in the success of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and that recognizes the importance of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to the community. $5.6 billion in economic impact generated by the base is not insignificant. All of those 30,000 people that come to work here every single day, or 24,000 depending on the given day, right, live and are part of your communities, and you support them, and we partner, right, in making their lives better. So that cooperation and coordination and leadership is also a critical part of what you had to do, and you did that also phenomenally well. And in my experience, it is unique to find an installation commander, an air base wing commander, that is able to juggle those three things equally successfully, right, to drive collective value to our entire enterprise. So Pat, incredibly well done. All of us that have taken command at any point or aspire to take command, when you put your hands on the flag, you're really hoping for only one thing in the end, right? The one thing that is pretty common. That's at the end, when you hand the flag back, that you leave the organization better than when you took it. And Pat, you have clearly done that. And you have set an amazing standard for Colonel Meeker as he takes command, and a level from which, and a great platform for him to build the 88th and this Wright-Patterson team from. So well done and congratulations. I normally think of events like this as being bittersweet, right? Because we have somebody giving up command and somebody taking command. To me, today's event is kind of just double sweet, right? Because there's no bad news here. Pat and Beth may be giving up command, but we're going to promote them and send them to Hawaii, and that doesn't sound all that awful to me. So there's not a whole lot of bitterness here, I don't think, but a lot of excitement. And so we're very, very excited, Pat, for your future. The Air Force could not have made a better decision in promoting Pat, and we're also now sending him his reward for all of his great work here. Is perhaps now one of the most challenging jobs we have, which is to go be our lead logistician at PACAF, who has to solve perhaps one of our most challenging questions, which is how we enable agile combat employment in the Pacific Theater. And that's what we're going to be now charging Pat to go help us solve, a tremendously great challenge. But I can't think of anybody, Pat, that I would rather have from an Air Force perspective leading that activity, and so congratulations. And then the challenge, right, for us as leaders is, how do we follow that up, right? We are so incredibly lucky as an Air Force. I can't imagine any other organization that would be able to have a leader like Pat move on and then be able to immediately turn to another great leader like we have in Colonel Meeker and hand the reins and have 100% confidence that the organization is going to continue to be as amazingly successful and only get better. And so we have a great team coming in with Colonel Meeker's family, with Kaylin, who also in her own right served and continues to serve in her support. It might feel a little bit like we're working too hard at this. So they're both civil engineers by background, both great families, both two sons. I can tell you all of that is just a coincidence, right? That's just how it happened to be. What is not a coincidence, though, is the fact that Chris is a fantastic leader, right? Who has demonstrated his ability to lead at every single level in the Air Force, every level of command leading up to this point, in challenging staff jobs, in challenging jobs at various different locations around the world, coming to us into this job as a graduated group commander from Ramstein, the #1 group commander there in the CE group, who dealt with his own set of challenges, leadership challenges, not to mention COVID being one, obviously, but a few little things that you might have heard of, like bedding down Afghan refugees and a Russian invasion of Ukraine, right? And so these are big leadership challenges that Colonel Meeker and his team took on in his last job that have made him 100% prepared to take over leadership here. He is a demonstrated leader. We are blessed as an organization that at the right place and at the right time, he was available to come in and take over as the new commander in the 88th. and an amazing opportunity for you and your family, and we thank you for stepping up to do that. I do want to acknowledge, beyond the families, there's another command team here as well, and so before I get off the stage, I am getting the sign, all the photos are down. I do want to acknowledge Chief Schaefer, who's standing in the back, and the fantastic work he did as the command chief here in the 88th. And we have a new command chief coming in as well, Chief Morales, who's here somewhere. And we look forward, over here. Great, thanks. Coming in to take over as the new command chief as part of that new command team. We're very excited to have you here as well, so welcome. So Pat, with that, we have a few other nice things to say, kind of encapsulated in a decoration. So if you'd like to join me at center stage, we'll move on from here. Thanks very much.
Thank you, General Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the medal presentation. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Legion of Merit, 2nd Oak Leaf Cluster, has been awarded to Colonel Patrick G. Miller for meritorious service from 12 June 2020 to 8 July 2022. Colonel Patrick G. Miller distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 88th Air Base Wing, Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, Air Force Material Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio, from 12 June 2020 to 8 July 2022. During this period, the exemplary ability, diligence, and devotion to duty of Colonel Miller were instrumental to guiding the installation through a global pandemic while sustaining installation operations and maintaining transparent communications. The wing established the Air Force's first aggregation installation site, deployed 2,031 mission-ready warfighters to combatant commanders, administered over 31,900 vaccinations, supported multiple Federal Emergency Management Agency requests, and executed 2 virtual Air Force marathons. Committed to developing leaders, Colonel Miller launched a bi-monthly Let's Get It Right Senior Leader Real Talk series, established a first-term officer course, folded civilian airmen into Airman Leadership School, and initiated quarterly wing intelligence briefs, earning a unit effectiveness inspection highly effective rating for professional development. A staunch family advocate, he formed the K-12 Education Council with local and state educators to address school concerns, securing legislative changes. Additionally, he secured funding for a $24 million child development center, replacing a decayed off-base facility. A mission-focused leader, Colonel Miller drove an organizational analysis that led to the inactivation of the 88th Communications Group, reassignment of the Operations Support Squadron under the wing, and reassignment of the Communication Squadron under the Mission Support Group, paving the way to a streamlined wing construct. Furthermore, he drove a $160 million airfield recapitalization program and conducted the Department of Defense's first combined energy and cyber readiness resilience exercise, ensuring continuity of operations for over 115 mission partners. Finally, under his charge, the wing garnered 120 Air Force Material Command and 19 Air Force awards, and 1 Department of Defense level award. The superior initiative, outstanding leadership, and personal endeavor displayed by Colonel Miller reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Signed, Sean Q. Morris, Lieutenant General, United States Air Force. Thank you, General Morris. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the Commander, 88th Air Base Wing, Colonel Pat Miller.
Thanks. For those of you that have heard me talk or get out in engagements, I'm usually not a script guy. I usually don't write things down, which is probably why I didn't start this until about midnight last night. What I will promise you is today we're not going to talk about Hercules, we're not going to talk about Captain America, we're not going to go on a little tangent that I typically do in some of these changes of command. Instead, you're just going to hear much love and gratitude for the last 2 years. You know, I can't believe just over 2 years ago, I had the privilege to assume command of the mighty 88th on this very stage. The crowd was a bit smaller, right? And the time was a little different, but we pressed on. I'll start by saying thanks to all of you who have taken time out of your busy schedules to be here today. From our civic and senior leaders across the community and base, to our teammates, family, and friends, you humble Beth and I by your presence today, both in person and online. Wright-Patterson is always going to hold a special place in our hearts. I was fortunate to have the opportunity to thank a number of people over the past few weeks, so I'm not going to rehash everybody by name as we go through this discussion here. But I do want to call out a few special folks today. First, thanks to the team that made this event possible, from our action officers, Major Troxel, Master Sergeant Hansen. I know you guys are probably floating around in the background, to the narrator, the proffer, the ushers, setup, teardown crews, the men and women in formation. You all look awesome. Thank you for doing this. To the band, the honor guard, and everybody else behind the scenes that makes something like this happen. It's not an easy feat, and I know there's a ton of hard work, so please accept my appreciation and thanks for putting this on for us. And a special thanks goes out to the National Museum of the United States Air Force. Man, there's no other better venue in the world than this place right here to have a change of command ceremony. And so huge thanks to Mr. Tillotson and his team for being great partners and for continuing to host amazing events in this world-class museum. Next, I'd like to thank General Morris. Sir, thanks for the kind words. Thanks for being here today to preside over the ceremony. I know it's been a hectic few weeks. You've done one or two changes of command or leadership. You've got a retirement ceremony to preside over tomorrow, and it's all sandwiched between leave and life events and different things going on. And so I appreciate the care and passion that you take in coming to these events and doing justice to Colonel Meeker and myself. So thank you very much. I also want to say thanks to you and the LCMC leadership team for giving me a pretty wide berth. And lots of maneuver space to lead this wing as we operate, sustain, protect, and defend this installation. That's not lost on me. And so thank you for your trust and confidence in that. And to Mrs. Morris, man, we cannot say thanks enough to you. You are an extremely valuable part of this team. And I know Beth particularly, she is going to value your friendship well into the future. And so thank you both for your mentorship, guidance, counsel, and leadership over the course of these last 2 years. I appreciate you. To our community, both on and off base, thanks for your partnership. The past 2 years were a grind, but with communication and close collaboration, we thrived together. And I'll expand on that a bit later. Now to the men and women of the 88th Air Base Wing. Thanks doesn't even come close to expressing the gratitude that I have for you. You are why I serve. You motivate me, you teach me, you challenge me, you make me better each and every day. I can only hope, I gotta stop looking at Beth, right? Because she's got the tears going and I look over there and that'll choke me up a bit. I can only hope that you took half as much from me that I took from you. And so thank you. Thank you very much. My final thanks goes to my family. My mom and her husband Glenn are here with us today. My dad is online. My grandfather is online. Best parents are online. And so many other family and friends are out there watching. We're going to catch up in a bit. Thank you for the support, the motivation, and just keeping us going throughout these past 24 years of service, throughout our 2 years here. We appreciate all of your support each and every day. Just thank you. And to Beth and the boys, I can't say thank you enough. Missionary Albert Schweitzer once said, "In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle that inner fire." Over the course of the last 2 years, I experienced many highs and lows, but I walked through the door at the end of the day. Your smiles comforted me, lifting my spirits and rekindling my inner fire. Boys, I know I'm taking you away from friends, and that's not easy. Your resilience, however, never ceases to amaze me. And Beth, the author John Stuart Mill, said it best. You are my inspirer, the author of all that is best in me. I love you. Thanks for all that you did to take care of the team and our families. Thank you. When I took command 2 years ago, I told you I was a firm believer that we are mission-focused and people-driven. I was wrong. Not the concept, but the order. We quickly corrected that a few months into command, incorporating the phrase people-driven, mission-focused into our vision. You see, the mission, that's the easy part. We can do that all day, as long as you take care of the team, investing in their development and resilience and empowering them to lead. To better define who we are, we established 8 values, things that are important to us, like development, family-oriented, inclusive, resilient, and 8 character traits, the words we wanted others to use whenever they described us: competent, professional, trusted, and caring. This set the tone for how we were going to go about doing business over the next 2 years. From there, we mapped out 4 distinct lines of effort: strengthen and care for our team, maximize mission effectiveness, optimize and modernize the installation, and foster and deliver deliberate partnerships. That was our roadmap. As I said, we're people-driven. That's why strengthen and care for our team was up front. We focused on resilience and professional development through things like Let's Get It Right, first-term officers course, having airmen in our civilian airmen, our non-uniformed airmen in our Airman Leadership School, rolling out first-term officer course, and doing everything we could to invest in the team. Quarterly speeches, the list goes on, or quarterly guest speakers, the list goes on. And ultimately, our efforts, your efforts, led to that highly effective and professional development. We got it right. We also went all in for Month of the Military Child, established a Little Heroes program to recognize the kids of our deployers for their service and sacrifice. We teamed with the USO, and we looked for ways to invest in our families, because you are our most important resource. Without you, we cannot do what we do. And so to all of our families out there, thank you for your service and sacrifice. Thank you for being there to support those who serve, whether they're in uniform or out of uniform. You are absolutely the best deal we have going today. And so to all our families, I salute you. Maximizing mission effectiveness and optimizing and modernizing the installation is all about being mission focused. We executed not 1, but 2 virtual Air Force marathons. And yes, I will be that wing commander who never sees an Air Force marathon in person. I'm not bitter, right? I'm not bitter. We inactivated the 88th Communications Group. We established a Resources Corporate Board to improve efficiency and effectiveness. The Honor Guard traveled over 1 million miles just last year to pay respects to fallen heroes. We paid the short runway under budget and under schedule, ahead of schedule. A pretty remarkable feat for civil engineers, right? Especially in the climate that we're in today. We expanded munition storage capability and capacity, started a $182 million expansion to NASIC, secured a new Child Development Center project, executed the DoD's first combined cyber and energy resiliency exercise, improving continuity of operations. And to make all of this happen, we fostered deliberate partnerships. The Council of Governments, the Greater Dayton Area Hospital Association, partnerships with Soing, Kettering, Premier Health, Dayton Children's, Wright State, all of our amazing medical partners, both on and off base, to include the 711th Human Performance Wing. American Water, Miller Valentine, AES Ohio, Dayton Daily News, the list goes on and on. We jumped into organizations like the Dayton Development Coalition, the various chambers of commerce, working at the local, state, and national level to get things done for you. Through you, we were able to establish things like the K-12 Education Council, repave Springfield Street. It was a much easier drive coming to the museum today, wasn't it? Before it was a little bit of a teeth chatterer. So working with the state and working with the city of Riverside, we were able to get that done together. Make progress on an enhanced use lease, expertly respond to an active shooter event, and stay in sync through a chaotic and evolving time. That's right, folks. I haven't even mentioned COVID yet. And all that you accomplished as a result of this game-changing pandemic. You heard it, aggregation installation missions, over 2,000 cleared warriors deploying downrange, vaccination distribution, not just here, but out in the community. We pushed 120 medics to Detroit, 240,000 vaccines in 30 days, remarkable. Medical support teams going all over the United States, and teams taking care of business here on the installation as we adjusted fire in operations, institutionalized telework, and got the mission done each and every day. You didn't only crush expectations for that day-to-day mission, but you strapped on even more, navigating the installation and community through a global pandemic, ensuring no mission stopped. And the team and our families and this community were protected every step of the way. Proud doesn't even cover how I feel about you. You are extraordinary. You're the epitome of what happens when character and competence collide with opportunities and choices. Excellence personified. Because of you, I knew handing over the guide on today was going to be hard. But when the Air Force announced that Colonel Chris Meeker was going to take command, it got a lot easier. You see, Chris and I have a bit of a history. This isn't the first time the Air Force has tasked him to clean up my mess. He replaced me several years ago as the ops chief at Joint Base Langley Eustis. Man, I couldn't be prouder of you. The team is in fantastic hands. Not just because of you, but because of your amazing family. And so Kaylin, Reed, and Caleb, best of luck to you. This is going to be a fantastic ride, and you're going to love every minute of it. They are certainly fired up to join the family and serve Team Wright-Pat. So Team Meeker, we're envious that you're on the front end of your journey, right? And embrace every minute of it. It's going to come by fast. As I close, I just want to do one last thing. Onboarding is pretty important to us. That's where you set the climate. That's where you set the tone. That's where you make sure folks know that they feel welcomed. If you could do me a favor and flip to the last page of your program, so that inside back cover, you're going to see a description of our patch. Chris, you get to wear this patch with pride each and every day. You spent the last 22 years earning the privilege to command this wing and to lead this installation. I will tell you what, wear it with pride, and just remember, keep earning it every day. Beth, the boys, and I wish you, Kaylin, Reed, and Caleb all the best, and I cannot wait to see where you take this team. The flag's yours.
Thank you, Colonel Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the 88th Air Base Wing would like to render a final salute to Colonel Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, Air Force Material Command, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. Under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-509 and in accordance with Special Order Number G-22-18, dated 7 July 2022, Colonel Christopher B. Meeker is hereby appointed Commander of the 88th Air Base Wing, effective 7 July 2022. Signed, Sean Q. Morris, Lieutenant General, United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, the men and women of the 88th Air Base Wing would like to render their first salute to Colonel Meeker. It is my distinct honor to introduce the 40th Commander of the 88th Air Base Wing, Colonel Christopher Meeker.
Pat's right. I am absolutely fired up. And how could you not be in this inspiring venue? For the folks here at the museum, the folks that put this on, and I love that we have uniformed and civilian airmen in this formation today. One more round of applause for this super professional team. Mrs. Jean Morris, thank you so much for welcoming my family today. It was so nice to meet you all and look forward to serving with you here. General Morris, thank you for this opportunity. I'm extremely excited to be part of the LCMC team, and I take the responsibility of commanding an LCMC wing very seriously. I promise you'll get everything I've got. To our civic leaders, I'm extremely excited to meet all of you and further this incredibly unique and special relationship that we have between the local community, the United States Air Force, and the 88th Air Base Wing. Thank you all for your attendance today. For all the senior leaders, commanders, chiefs, and every single airman stationed here at Team Wright-Pat, thank you so much for your time and for making time to come celebrate this moment with us today. To Pat and Beth and family, it's an honor to be able to follow in your footsteps again. And I tell you, anybody, I'm sure all of you now that have worked with Pat for 2 years know that he is the epitome of a servant leader, he and Beth and the whole family. And that servanthood has extended to me and my family for the last several months. And you've made our transition so easy and our welcome so amazing that we're now ready to take this flag and run with it. So thank you and congratulations on leaving a clear legacy here and a successful command. I know you'll do awesome things in Hawaii, maybe learn to surf. I don't know if it's too old for that new trick. I don't know. But congratulations and good luck. Chief Schaefer, likewise for you, congratulations on such a great legacy. And I'm excited to have my man, Chief Morales, here as my wingman. And I know he's as fired up as I am, so welcome. Lastly, to my family, Kaylin, Reed, and Caleb, we've been traveling around the Air Force for Kaylin and I have been together for 24 years now, traveling around the Air Force. I love the Air Force so much, and I love this job so much. There's never been a day in my career where I felt like I had to sacrifice. But our families do have to sacrifice. Moving overseas, like both families are doing this summer, moving schools, trying to balance her career with my career. And so thank you for your service and sacrifice, both Miller family and my family. And in those 24 years of bouncing around the globe in service of the Air Force, a lot of it's been overseas. This is the closest I've ever been to my hometown, a little farm town in Illinois. And I want to say thank you for the love and support from my 30-plus family members who made the drive today. They said it was to come see us, but I think they just wanted to see the museum. But They did come, and they've provided all these years of love and support, so thank you so much. And like I said, a lot of our career has been overseas, and my first 3 commands in the Air Force were all overseas, both deployed for a year in the Middle East as well as 2 in Europe, doing some, General Morris described, some pretty intense things. And a year ago, when they announced that I would assume command of the 88th Air Base Wing, I wondered, would it feel less operational to do a CONUS command at an AFMC base? And after watching you all over an ocean for about a year and watching very closely and learning from Colonel Miller over the last few months, what I've concluded is that in context of the Chief of Staff of the Air Force's #1 priority, there is no installation on the globe that is more operational and more on the tip of the spear in accelerating change or lose. The missions that happen on this base are incredibly impressive. The innovation and the acceleration of modernizing our weapon system, modernizing our technology, our capabilities, and how we develop our airmen across the Air Force, this is the center of all of that. That's the heart of accelerate, change, or lose for the Air Force, and I'm so proud to be part of this. And the foundation of all of those extraordinary mission sets is the mighty 88th Air Base Wing, providing strength through support for all of our mission partners. I am so fired up, team, to stand side by side with you, roll up my sleeves just like you, and provide strength through support for all of our mission partners, serve each other with passion, and care for the families, the airmen, and the communities here at Team Wright-Pat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel Meeker. The men and women of the 88th Air Base Wing would like to present flowers to Mrs. Kaylin Meeker and Commander's coins to the Meeker children, welcoming them as the newest members of the 88th Air Base Wing family. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and remain in place for the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please follow our distinguished visitors through the receiving line located at the Overlook in Hangar 4 as we welcome our new commander, Colonel Meeker, and his family. Thank you for attending, and have a pleasant day.